It's like deja vu all over again. This man who's sitting to my right was here in the Rich Eisen Show studio right at this point, right around last year at this point, talking about a premiere of another season of The Last Ship with his Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. And here you are, Eric Dane, talking about season 3 premiere of The Last Ship on TNT. That's this Sunday.
And the Warriors are in a similar position.
In the NBA Finals.
NBA Finals.
Now, a lot of folks are wondering, why aren't they playing if Game 5 would normally be if you play, Game 3 was Wednesday, Game 4 is tonight. You'd think Game 5 would be Sunday, but it's Monday. Did you, as a Warriors fan, have the game moved so it does not conflict with the season premiere of The Last Ship, Eric?
Well...
You know what I mean? Do you have that sort of juice?
I did. I did because I want to, because we film the show and it airs simultaneously, so I can't watch the game and make a show at the same time.
You can't do that. Because we're wondering why there's no game on Sunday.
No, it's because of The Last Ship. I think the NBA and the basketball gods want the ratings to be nice and plump.
But every single time someone was taking a free throw in the Western Conference Finals on TNT.
Was it?
There was,
they cut away to The Last Ship? That's great.
Just hearing Marv Albert, The Last Ship will be...
Did he really?
Yeah, sure, you know, I mean...
I didn't see any of that. I'm just a fair-weather Warriors fan.
But, hey, Steph Curry has to be one of the... We were talking about this the other day. What a blessing it must be to root for somebody like him, how much he usually...
You know, and it's not like you should let this sort of affect the way you sort of revere your sports heroes. But it does. But, you know, Steph Curry's sort of personal life is admirable.
Yeah.
And that affects the way that I feel about him as a player. And, you know, it doesn't make him a better basketball player, per se. He's a technical proficiency is not going to be affected by how much you love your wife. But it just makes me like the guy a lot more. And it makes it a lot easier to root for him, and I'm glad he's ours.
Because that's been part of the discussion this past week, Eric, is that he has been struggling in the first 3 games of this series and doesn't get the criticism that, say, if LeBron had a similar 3-game stretch, he would get. Kobe, if he ever had a 3-game stretch like the one that Curry's been on, it hasn't been disastrous, but it hasn't been MVP caliber.
It's interesting, though, because I think there's certain expectations you put on a LeBron James or a Kobe Bryant that I don't think they have put on Steph Curry yet. I think that, you know, MVP season last year, this year, and quite possibly another championship, you know, there aren't going to be expectations on him for a little bit. And I think that's just by virtue of the fact that he's not, you know, as big as LeBron or as touted as LeBron. Or, you know, I think he's just as good as LeBron. You know, LeBron's all muscle. I don't personally, I think LeBron James is a great basketball player. I'm not a huge fan of his. I think he's a good person, too. He's a good family man. But I don't think Steph has the physical attributes to sort of have people put those expectations on him.
Yeah, people are saying that's part of the conversation this week too. Is that he just looks like the guy that maybe be standing behind you in Starbucks.
And I think that's it.
That, you know, that's the guy that he just happens to be. He's, you know, a little over 6 feet, and he just looks like
not your prototypical basketball physique.
No, not at all. But he is just a dynamo, and it's just a. I was saying that just last week. I'm kind of jealous that I didn't have somebody like him to root for growing up, to have your expectations level constantly met and surpassed. And that's why this moment might be, as you point out, the first time he's not meeting those expectations, and maybe now is when he's going to get those criticisms thrown on him if things don't go their way tonight and beyond.
I think that's fair to say. I think he meets I think he picks it up. I don't see him. He's a pro, you know, and I think they adjust. And I was actually talking to one of his trainers in New York last week. And
is that right?
Yeah. He said, you know, Steph plays with this reckless abandonment where he feels like he can't make a mistake. And if you walk out on the court and you feel like, you know, there's no such thing as a mistake, then everything's going to go in. You know, there's nobody telling him he can't shoot, you know, unless X, Y, and Z happen. I think to that degree, I think Klay Thompson the same way. But those guys play like they feel like they can't make mistakes. And I think that could be directly, you know, related to their success out there on the court.
And then I've got Eric Dane here in the studio. Last Ship airing Sunday, season 3 premiere on TNT at 9 Eastern Time. Then you got Draymond Green, who busts people's skulls. And
I know, right?
And then other parts of their bodies.
You got to have a guy like that on your team.
Yeah, and that's why, you know.
And he puts up 28, and they're
Right, and then they put
they're
LeBron
shocked.
on him, and things kind of changed. I think that's another thing that we'll be looking to see tonight is how LeBron on Draymond Green manifests itself in Game 4. I'm really enjoying this series, and I just love the way the Warriors play. And that Western Conference Finals. A lot of people were thinking the first 2 games of the blowouts of this finals
Thunder?
was that was the de facto NBA
Well, thank
Finals.
God we have all these great players to watch. You know, with
I agree.
Durant and Westbrook and
Yeah.
the Thunder, and you know, it's just fun. It's fun. It's a good time to be a basketball fan.
Yeah, I agree with you. Eric Dane, again, like I said, here in the studio. So talk to me about and everyone else here. We talked in the TV-only segment. Let's bring it to the radio audience. The Last Ship. So, as we all know, the global viral pandemic wiped out 80% of the world's population. That was season
1.
Season 2, you helped cure
We brought it home.
into the continuous United States.
Correct.
Now season 3 is
Global. We're in China. We're all over Asia. And you know, there's a couple storylines going on. We got trying to get the cure out. We've got the president of China hoarding the cure, so that
we can't have that.
we can't have that.
can't have that.
Ideally, the cure mutates. The virus mutates.
Yeah.
And then the crew of the USS Nathan James gets kidnapped by, I think I can say this, by some pirates. So there's
Not
a
the
lot.
Pit- not
There's
the
a lot
Pittsburgh
going
Pirates,
on.
not the Pittsburgh
Not the
Pirates.
Pittsburgh
Okay,
Pirates.
very good. All right.
But actual pirates.
Okay.
And and they don't have eye patches. They're not all wearing eye patches and saying things like "shiver me timbers," but they're real pirates. We a couple of great actors added to the cast this year.
Who do you got?
We've got Bridget Regan, who plays a naval intelligence officer. We've got LaMonica Garrett, who plays Lieutenant Burke's older brother, works in the CIC as a TAO.
Right.
And a couple other guys. The names are escaping right now.
That's all good.
That's probably because
You know,
they don't.
it's the problem is you can't. If you name one, you name all. I shouldn't put you in that position. It's like the
Yeah.
gum. It's like the gum rule in the class. If
Well, you got to
gum,
have more than like 7 lines, or I'm going to forget.
Okay, that's the cutoff, huh? I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. I like it. Season 3 starts this Sunday as well, June 12th, 9 p.m. Eastern, and then you'll got Game 5 of your Warriors. Maybe
gonna
maybe
watch
the
that.
championship. Yeah. Thank you for coming on
Thank
back
you
in
for
here. Eric.
having me.
No, always, absolutely.
I appreciate it, Rich.
Absolutely, always. You are welcome here any darn time, last
Thank you,
ship or
brother.
not. You got it. Eric, good to see you again.
Likewise.
Eric Dane right here in the Rich Eisen Show studio.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.